My name is Onapoma Martins, the president and founder of Quebec Foods Processing Industrial Parks Limited, Quebec Agricultural and Food Processing Cooperative Society Limited, promoters and developers of Quebec Agri-Tech City and Farm Estate projects. We are also the anchor and the sponsor of the program Make We Go Farm program that is being held live every Wednesday from 2:05 to 3 p.m. at the Armed Forces Radio 107.7, the authentic voice of the Nigerian military. I want us to look into the issues of the state of emergency of the federal government on food insecurity. There's been a lot of controversy. I also talked about it on our live radio. Today being Wednesday, 19th of July 2023. Like I said already today, it's not in our decision or powers or authority to tell the federal government what to do in terms of palliatives, in terms of trying to see how they can cushion the effect of the fuel subsidy removal. They have their plans to see how things can get better and reduce the suffering Nigerians are going through. As our job is just to ensure as Nigerians to make our own contribution and ensure that our leaders could look into it. There's what we call citizen engagement, and that is what we're already doing in Quebec through the Make We Go Farm program. The Make We Go Farm program is to sensitize Nigerians to see the need why we should go back to farming now as a country. A lot of research reports has come telling us why we should go back to farm, why we should scale up on commercial food production, processing, not even because of us to strengthen our import and export system, but just that to show that we as citizens will be able to feed ourselves because our population is increasing by the day. By the time this new census will be conducted, we should be able to know, ascertain the true figure if we have not even approached close to 300 million population in our country. Yes, the 500 billion palliative approved by the National Assembly to the federal executive, the executive is the federal government as it is today, has been a kind of controversy and all that. At this point, we are promoters of agriculture, and what we have been doing is that we want to ensure that the 774 local governments are fully active, the populace are fully active in agriculture. So take for instance, in our own point, which we are also appealing to the federal government, which our proposal and request for audience with the president will soon be sent to ensure that we looked at these things one or the other. There's no doubt they have had deliberations with stakeholders and all that. We are not here to condemn anyone. We're only saying that we can get it more better this time if this can be of a pilot phase while they continue what they have. For us in Quebec, the target of federal government is to see that 12 million homes, vulnerable homes, households are supported. But what we are not looking at is that pushing out a whole chunk of 500 billion. Why don't we put this money into agriculture and transport? It will automatically create jobs for our Nigerian youths, not issue of vulnerability here now. So creating jobs for our Nigerian youths, putting the most vulnerable people, which we call the poorest of the poorest, which are already living in communities, doing agriculture in a mini scale. And don't forget, research has shown that we have almost 80 million hectares of farmlands uncultivated. Some of them are forests. And there's no doubt that the government now, with the new structure they are putting in place, they're also trying to see how they can revamp and work on our river-based area to sustain the issue of irrigation. Fine, good idea. And I fully support that. Personally, I have visited 3 locations for these river-based irrigation systems. I visited the one in Oyo State, I visited the one in Anambra State, I've also visited the one in Kogi State. It will be a good help for government to really see how we can focus on irrigation, mechanization, and make things to work. That has been the plan of Quebec from 2016 to date. Of course, we have also been involved in this special agro processing zone. Our company and our technical partners came together to tender for these feasibility studies before it was in April during the COVID. So that we are saying something that is not practicable, no. That we are saying something that we are not knowledgeable, no. We are knowledgeable about it. We have been in this for a very long time. And there was an event that took place in Transcorp, is it Sheraton? Event 2 years ago, that should be about 3 years ago now. And that was when I met with the president of the Nigerian Farmers Association. A lot of things that I've gotten myself involved as young as I am to make sure that things change. This is sacrifice I have devoted my time and my life for, to make that Nigerian youths get back into agriculture. What am I proposing to federal government? It's simple. 500 billion for 12 million Nigerians. Take for instance, we have 5 people in a household. Multiply that by 12 million, we're talking about 60 million Nigerians. If 60 million Nigerians are actively involved in agriculture, covering various value chains with the design model we have already in place, how? We need creating farm estates, focusing on food crops, focusing on fruits, focusing on vegetables. A lot of our fruits, take for example, mangoes are wasting. These are things that can be exported to other countries where they're highly processed. Now, before we now talk about federal government looking at grains, rice, and all that. If 60 million Nigerians are fully active, it will lead to so many things. They will be engaged fully. It will also create jobs for our agri-graduates. I've always said it. We have colleges of agriculture. We have University of Agriculture. We have a lot of them who have left this country. Many graduates in agriculture, they are not doing things the way they are not working what with the field they study, because there's no better environment for them to do that. We don't have industries. If India alone, South Asia, as 2020, embarked on 48 mega food parks, India has a lot of programs. And a couple of days yesterday, I had a meeting at the High Commission of India, and they gave us a lot of ideologies and things that they feel they can do with the government. They had a lot of proposals that are tied up that the federal government has not looked into the past administration. Is it on cassava? Is it on millet? Is it on so many things? Things can work. These are things that can work, and before you know it, jobs will be created. Now, do you know, giving 8,000 naira to the vulnerable Nigeria as we project monthly for 6 months, that's it. It's a short term. 500 billion wasted. But do you know, if we have 60 million Nigerians fully activated, active in agriculture, food production, processing, we have a lot of value chains and supply chains involved in these whole processes. I tell you, it will be a kind of a well-structured and another support to the special agro-processing zone that is to be funded by the African Development Bank. It will help a lot to give a structure and a balance point, making it already preparing the ground for these processing hubs to take place. What is our design model for the farm estate? Is to ensure we design it, already we have a template we have worked on, that's all we have implemented the template so many locations now, waiting for investors to come in. And who are our target investors? Is Nigerians. Nigerians have invested so much in crowdfunding, we agree, but Quebec Foods model is quite different. We have 3 different business models. We have the farm estate where Nigerians can invest in crops, not just investing money on thin air. You invest in crops that meet your financial goal. We have the processing plant business model. Even our mobile app that you can download on Apple Store and Google Play Store. Once you go through, you see we have the 3 packages. We have the farm estate, we have the processing plant, we have the tractor and all this section. You invest your money in real-time agriculture, not investing money on a thin air. We have the land already in various locations across the 6 geopolitical zones. If you visit our research, you can find all that. Now, federal government is looking at doing 500,000 hectares of farmland, right? Good appointment, because it's better you don't overpromise. It's better you start from somewhere, and I appreciate this administration and those who are part of the committees leading. Because the past administration under NISA PLC have told us they want to do 4 million hectares, engage 8 million farmers. Farmers' data have been collated severally, but have we been able to meet all the expectations? A lot of agro-intervention funds have been put in place. Have we been able to conquer the issue of food insecurity? Now, coming back about security that is so skeptical about Nigerians. Yes, this administration has agreed to make sure that farmers are protected and farmers are protected. But if you want me to speak on that, I've been a security analyst, or how would I put it? I'm a partner to one of the US companies involved in surveillance. From 2016 to 2019, I engaged in Nigerian forces from Air Force, Navy, Defense, even to the police. At least I've had engagement with one of the former Minister for Defense and other. Now we can have security surveillance. Now, security issues, that system is still there. The same system, that's what the US Armed Forces are using. The same thing Mexico are using. Till tomorrow, we created a lot of structures through a lot of platforms that the US government, but because of the cases of the Apache equipment, weapons or helicopters that were ordered in the time of President Jonathan, people, every government that comes here feels that the US is not fair enough to this. These things we've technically addressed. The last meeting I had with these various chiefs at the army headquarters, they made me to understand some of these fears, and I put it back to my partners over in the US that this can be done, and they said no, they shouldn't think about that. A lot of things have changed. The US government is ready to support the country. So I just believe that this is a new administration. If they still want that to happen, I'm still ready to discuss with my partners in the US to come in under security surveillance. We need thorough security surveillance in all our farm locations, and that's why we're telling you that for Quebec Farm Estate, where Quebec Agritechnicity, security will be guaranteed because we are going to operate in a particular location within a zone. And we have cut across our farm estate across some selected zones. And the site locations are highly secured and all that. Security is everybody's issues. Thank God, security is an issue for everyone. And let me tell you, so far we are not politically motivated. I'm not a politician. And I'm not going to bring politics in what we are doing to ensure that things work out. Because one, the issue here is our political leaders have a lot of things to do within their zones. And when we begin to bring politics, misunderstanding, misconception, and into things that are supposed to make life meaningful for us, it becomes a problem. As a road contractor, I had a challenge in 2011. That was my own community from where my father is staying. I got that contract to ensure that that road is tied. I employed my community youths there. In one day, I lost 2 million, having tractors, excavators working from 2 sites, having about 20 trucks bringing laterite to the site. What was the problem? I engaged one of the honorables to supply laterite to the site. But because they worked for the honorables some years ago, and the honorable jitted them, they granted job for that day. These are the things we are talking about. So let's take politics outside certain things, and you discover that issue of security will be guaranteed. But when there is politics and there are crises in between, take for instance, when a politician is being given an major project to handle in the country, for example, and he has soiled his name, no integrity, no reputation, he's not straightforward in his dealings and all that, I tell you, the youth will revolt. That leads to insecurity issues. These are major points where we must put into consideration. So for security, the federal government has told us that they will do everything possible along with the security agencies to ensure that there will be security. But you and I will agree that it is not all the zones in Nigeria, all locations in Nigeria that have security threats. Why don't we focus in those areas to bridge the gap for now? Why the security agencies see how they can take care of that area and make sure that the place is peaceful before farmers go into farming and all that. So for us, we can get this done if federal government can give us an opportunity on a pilot phase, starting with 200,000 households. Engage them. By so doing, 200,000 homes will eventually be involved in farming in their locality. And you discover that agricultural activities will be going on in all these local government, and food prices coming to Abuja, the prices of food will come down. Because we are the ones facing it in the cities. People there, yes, they are facing it, I agree. But take for example, somebody that is already domiciled in a community where farm activity, he doesn't pay transport anywhere. He doesn't feel it like us that are living in the city. So any sacrifice we are paying now for this household, the active poor, to make sure this their zone are actively involved in agriculture, will do us more good, those of us that are in the city. That's just the gospel truth. Secondly, by our program, it will enable them to have a payday job that a farmer can easily, for instance, from our projection, which when it comes to actual reality now, we don't know the figures that it will be, we're already working on that area, where a farmer can even earn as low as 48,000 naira in a month, working with Quebec in these farm settlement areas. Secondly, they can also have access to NHIS for quality health, because health issue is another issue for farmers. Farmers are doing everything possible for us to succeed, but they are going through a lot as well. The same program we have put in place, they can also contribute to the National Housing Fund so that they can also have access for based on what we are doing on making sure that farmers can key into affordable housing scheme. What have we put in place that will encourage Nigerian youths to go into farming? They don't have access to pension, they don't have access to affordable housing scheme, no health and all that. These are the things that we have courteously from 2016 get the National Assembly, 8th Assembly, 9th Assembly to look into, get governors to look into. So this is the right time. I want to implore the president that we will support him if he feels he can consider this template we're talking about. Things have been done in the old ways. If they want to continue those ways, no problem. But what we are saying, this will work. Let's give this a trial. See, we give us an audience, an opportunity to meet with the president, speak with him, have audience, make thorough presentation to them. We are not going to release our proposal to anybody unless we have engagement with the president. Of course, he has been open. At least when after the swearing, we discovered that any group that wants to meet him is always open. So let him grant us audience. I'll get this done. Our own platform will not disturb the existing structure in place. Mr. President, our own platform will not obstruct any existing stakeholder. There is no Mr. Know-it-all. For years, they have been doing things. Intervention funds for agriculture has been there. Across border funds has been there. But have we achieved any results? The agricultural fund for to drive rice. Has it make rice price to come down? Today, rice is almost 60-something thousand. So let's give room for new ideas. Let's give room for new structures to make things work, and so that at the end of the day, Nigerians can all be okay. I am saying this because the level at which Nigerian youths are leaving this country is going to be a problem if we don't work at something. So this is the platform now for Nigerian youths to come back and see that agriculture becomes a business. Don't forget, once this is done, a lot of investment opportunities will be coming. People want to go into investment. People want to visit these communities to set up this, set up that, to ensure that things work out. So, fellow Nigerians, I want us to take whatever thing this administration is bringing now with a positive mindset, because we have suffered for too long. And if this new administration is saying, no, let's do something stronger and give more focus to agriculture, let's see how it goes while we give them our support and contributions. And I tell you, Mr. President, if you involve citizen engagement in key decisions that has to do with cost of living, human life, I tell you, your government will be one of the best, irrespective of the issues that are going now. So we are giving you our assurance that we are ready and willing to partner with you and make sure that things get better in the agri sector. Thank you. You can visit our website. You can also follow us on our social media platform at Quebec Foods. Thank you.